evening, all you minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reels Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Was It Really That Bad? The segment where we go and revisit some movies that are critically not acclaimed.
Not acclaimed.
Or critically bad.
And not just by critics, but also by audience members, because I think we have to, also delineate that.
You know, it's funny. We've done Superman 1. We've done Superman 3. Or we've done 4.
Yeah.
We've done 3. We have not talked about Superman 2, which is a fan favorite.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm curious when we'll do that. Maybe was it really that good? But tonight we are focusing on the 83 when it came out. 1983.
Yeah.
Superman 3, which is third time Christopher Reeve came back as Superman. This is after the whole Richard Donner fiasco where he got fired, and some of the actors and actresses were taking a stand, including Margot Kidder, which is why she is hardly in this movie. I think she just makes a cameo at the beginning and at the end because she went to Bermuda.
Yeah, grabbed her bikini and went on her way.
Yeah. Mr. White's back in here. Perry White's back. Jimmy Olsen comes back. And actually, Jimmy Olsen, out of all the characters, has a bigger role in this one. This is a really weird and interesting time for Superman and superhero movies because the Superman franchise did so well with 1 and 2. I don't know why they changed the formula up.
Yeah.
But they did. They changed it up and they hired Richard Pryor. And Richard Pryor's audition was, I think it was the Late Night with Johnny Carson. That's how he got the job. He was talking about his love of Superman 2. And the agents got a hold of him and they kind of rewrote the script around him. Because Donner's original idea was to use Brainiac and Mixoplex. Like, that was the original idea.
That would have been really cool. Actual villains of Superman.
Superman go bad. And this is all stuff I've learned through the years about like what could have been. But unfortunately, Donner lost his job and they ended up ditching him, and I don't know why, I guess to make things more cost effective. So here we are with Superman 3.
Yeah, Superman.
The Adventures of Gus
Gorman.
Superman.
Yeah, and the first thing I have to notice, I told Omar when I first was watching the film, from the opening credits, like, this really is a Reagan film. This is a Reagan era film, man.
From 1983,
yeah. From the way he was treated in the unemployment office to the talk about Social Security coming out of his paycheck, I was like, boy, this is definitely a Reagan era film. But yeah, this is 1983. It was directed by Richard Lester, and like he said, Margot Kidder only makes a short little cameo in it. She leaves to go to Bermuda, comes back and finds Lana Lang hanging out in Metropolis now, a ex of sorts or whatever, a new romantic relationship with Clark. Who knows? I'm not really sure how that ended up.
If they are following
continuity, so that's all that matters.
If they are following continuity of the movies, Lois Lane did get her mind wiped, so she doesn't remember Clark Kent is Superman.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because you haven't seen the second one, but that's what happened.
I have not seen it. Yes, that's a good point.
So that is what happened. She forgot who Superman was. So that's why they're not really together. But of course, she's still kind of jealous.
Of course, because Clark's still attractive even when he's wearing glasses. Because
it's still Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve, and he's still Superman with nice, muscles and all that stuff.
So this time around, we do have a new Lana Lang, and that's Heather O'Toole.
Nope, Annette O'Toole.
Annette O'Toole, not Heather O'Toole.
Yes.
Famous because of Virgin River, one of the greatest Netflix shows.
Also famous because she was Martha Kent later in Smallville. I love this actress. When I saw her, it made me so excited. At first, I remembered Virgin River, and I was like, oh, no wonder Omar likes Virgin River so much. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
That's why.
Not the drama.
Exactly.
So this is a interesting story that starts off a lot different than any of the other Superman movies. And one thing you're gonna notice right away is the score. Long gone are the
Yes.
little bit of John Williams in there, but it is not John Williams doing the actual score.
Who's doing the score for this one?
I think. Let me make sure I've got it right, because the music's by Ken Thorne in this one, but I want to say that they did borrow elements of John Williams' score. But yeah,
I think I heard some of that in some of the more
And-
like Superman rescuing scenes and things like that.
and he added weird little, almost like circus themes to the score. I don't know. It took a really interesting turn from the opening, where we have this comedic type of opening with like phone booths falling over, a man drowning in his car, and Superman taking the time to change in a photo booth, and then tell the boy, like, look at a picture, like he has enough time from to save the man, and gives the kid the last picture of him actually as Superman. So
exactly,
it's
the
different
chain
tone,
reaction. Yeah, well, it starts off, so it's a Superman film, and clearly they were monopolizing on Richard Pryor's apparent popularity, because this starts with Richard Pryor's Gus Gorman, who's been pretty much unemployed for about 35 weeks, and he's trying to find a job, but he's failing. And of course, the people at the unemployment office are like, calling him lazy and whatnot. And then at the back of all places, a matchbook, he sees this like advertisement, become a computer engineer. And lo and behold, he becomes a computer engineer at this company, and that Richard Webster owns, who's like I guess a replica of Lex Luthor, because Gene Hackman's not back. I guess he didn't want to come back, or he couldn't come back. So they decided to have a stand-in, and that's Richard Webster. But apparently Gus is a genius, and we didn't realize it, because he's never been a computer engineer, but it was a learn to become a computer engineer and make money. Even though he makes like $143 a week, which is not a lot of money if you know what computer engineers can make these days. Yeah, but it opens up with him, and Superman has a story, but I think we talked about this when we were texting. It almost felt like Richard Pryor was like the main character of the story, and Superman was just kind of in it, because it was all about Richard Pryor's character. He had a lot of growth I guess he had some kind of growth where he just wanted money, but then he almost sold his soul and his morals and values to get money and to do what he needed to do. But at the end of the day, he decided that wasn't worth it, not to kill Superman. So that he decided to become good again. I'm really not sure. There's a lot of stories in this movie. A lot of things happen. There's a whole theme about computers coming to life. And is that supposed to be some kind of a warning about technology? But this is the 1983s. I don't know. There's a lot of
It's the 1980s. Everything was a warning.
Yes, exactly.
Everything was a message about what could end up. I mean, we really did have a scare, right? Like there were movies and made for TV movies that were about the end of the world or animals coming and killing us.
Yeah,
it seemed like disaster movies were just everywhere. I don't feel like this was a disaster movie. It did really well at the box office, though, despite of how people felt about it. Like it did, I mean, well enough to get a Superman 4 with Canon Pictures and Canon giving. What's funny is Richard Pryor actually got paid more money than Christopher Reeve for this movie.
Yeah.
I think it was $1 million more than Christopher Reeve did. But Christopher Reeve, for the first time, got top billing in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was sharing screen with like Gene Hackman. I can see what. Yeah.
Right? So
exactly.
let me see what Kenny, who is like the biggest Superman fan I know. Yes. Hey, guys, Superman 3 for me has some good moments in Superman, moments in the film, but the supercomputer subplot and over-the-top comedy ruined the film for me.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the plots in this film, because there's many plots. So there's the Gus Gorman plot. And basically, like I said, he's trying to make money because he's been unemployed for so long. He works at Richard Webster's company as a computer engineer for the first time. And he realizes that the company takes all this stuff out for taxes, Social Security, and he makes nothing after the fact, basically. But one of his coworkers kind of mentions that there's some extra money that they just kind of round down everyone's salaries. So there's a little bit left over, and he somehow has the genius to hack into the mainframe and then give himself all this money from these reports. Yeah, that scene right there. And he gets this like
that's how you hack
$85,000 like
basic.
expense check with a computer pen. I don't really know how that works.
That's how you hack in basic.
Yes. Is that how you hack in basic? There we
That's
go.
exactly how you do it.
Yeah. So, and of course the Websters end up finding out because they know there's been money that's been stolen from them. And they're like, we don't know who it is though. Well, I'm sure this person would be stupid enough to reveal himself. And then Gus shows up in like a brand new Corvette or some type of sports car, and they all see him.
It's a Ferrari. How dare you?
I don't know. I didn't know the difference. And he shows up, and so they end up kind of using it as like blackmail to get him to do what they want, which is to hack into a weather satellite to kind of, I don't know, take over Colombia, or they're trying to destabilize Colombia. I'm not really quite remember what the exact reason is, but it's something to do with the Colombia. But then they decide he needs to take down Superman, and they try to give him some kryptonite, but the kryptonite was damaged. It doesn't do exactly what they thought it was going to do. And then they eventually make him hack into this supercomputer, and that lets them show any weakness of anyone, and then they have the right kryptonite. And that's one storyline, Gus's storyline, and of course the Webster storyline of these rich people who want money and power, and Superman's in their way. There's also the storyline of Superman wants to return to Smallville for his high school reunion. And for some reason, him and Perry White think it would make a great story for a major newspaper to talk about if a metropolitan sophisticate like Clark Kent would ever be able to go back to
small town. So he goes back to his high school reunion, which is really sweet because he sees the girl that is now being played by somebody else, playing his past love, Lana Lang. So, this relationships or these feelings come back, and he sees that she's still in a relationship with
Brad,
Mad Mardigan's friend.
I
can't remember the actor's name, but I remember him from Death Wish 3 and Mad Mardigan's friend in Willow.
Good enough. That's good enough.
But yeah, who's kind of a drunk slob and doesn't treat her right, and
awful human, and is never around for his kid. Poor Ricky. She has a son, kind of like bullied in school, kind of small for his age. I mean, he seems not average to me, but clearly needs a father figure, and Clark's there to kind of step it up and helps her. After the whole reunion's over, they go bowling together with their kid, with Ricky, and he kind of stands up to Brad a little bit as Clark Kent. And of course, this is all turning Lana Lang on a lot.
I love it. That's what you got out of that. Okay.
I think that's what
I should be just getting flustered for a different reason. Okay.
Maybe
so mild mannered Clark Kent stands up to his high school bully.
Yes.
So yeah, that storyline is really I think about a third of this movie, because 2/3 of this movie is Richard Pryor
doing silly things,
which actually he didn't though. Like if you look at Richard Pryor and like see his I was a big Richard Pryor fan, and this movie going into it now, it's like, wow, it's like I think some of this stuff was forced on Richard Pryor because it feels like he's trying to be more of a just give it like a dramatic spin to his acting.
Great man.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Hey, we need you on skis, skiing off the side of a building," and he was like, "How the hell is that even possible?"
Yeah, or the part where he has to hack into the computer for the satellites, and apparently Brad's working there. What? And he has to
they have a good moment. They drink a beer together.
He has to get him super drunk. So they passes out. And then there's this hilarious scene where he has to put 2 keys into 2 computers at the same time.
That's physical
comedy ensues because a lady it messes up computers all over the place. And a lady gets a Bloomingdale's credit card bill. And people know Bloomingdale's, right? It still exists. It hasn't shut down yet. For like $100 something thousand. And her husband shoves a lemon in her face. I was like, Well, that wouldn't have aged well this day and age. And the crosswalks, like the crosswalk people, like it stops and starts, and people get stuck in the middle of the road, and then the crosswalk people in the crosswalk light are fighting each other. How does he make that happen?
Dude, they were doing this movie had like CG before CG was even a thing. Like especially with the missile fight with Superman and the graphics, like the Atari. I don't know what the hell it was back then, 5600 maybe graphics. But we haven't talked about the
chemical plant?
No.
This happened like not too far after Chernobyl, right? That was like 1979, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was filmed in 1982. No, Ross Webster's sister Vera and his really smart sidekick
Lorelai.
Hey,
his psychic nutritionist, not psychic.
This young lady right here, who was obviously there
for that.
How did you find that? Wow, I could watch that all day. What the hell was I saying? Hamza, is that the name of Superman's mermaid girlfriend when he was younger? Do you remember that from the comics or anybody? Kenny, you've read the comics. Wasn't that the name of Superman's mermaid girlfriend? Cannot remember. But yeah, it seems like they took the script that was supposed to be Otis or Otho and not Otho. Oh my gosh, that's the guy from Beetlejuice. Lex Luthor, as Hackman used to call him, and his two sidekicks, and replaced them with these. Oh, thank you. That's it, Phil. Thank you for that. It was Lori.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like
I not remember the mermaid's name. Thank you for that. 80s women were
they were pretty hot.
Obviously, it was just different times. So he has a sister named Vera who plays a really strange role in this with his relationship, and
it's a weird relationship, right? Because she's not a very attractive woman, and everyone knows it. Because in the beginning, Lois Lane's doing a piece on them, and there's a picture they're using for the newspaper, and one of the guys like, she looks fuzzy. She's like, no, that's just what she looks like in real life. And then when Lorelai, when you first meet them in person, Lorelai says something to her about how if something happened to her, it would look better. What was it? What was the line? I can't remember it.
If something were to happen. Oh, yes. I was like, man, that's a really quick comeback. What the heck was that?
Oh gosh, what was the line?
If you stop breathing on me.
Is it that? If you hold your breath, you might turn blue, and that'll be an improvement. And Vera Webster like, pay attention, I'm about to take a human life. What a weirdly forced moment between these two ladies. And then of course it's clear Richard Webster is the one who holds all the cards because he can shut these two silly women.
Because he's the one that's quoting Genghis Khan throughout this movie, not her.
Yes.
So these four characters were originally in this movie. They were not in the comics, and I guess they weren't. And Matt's asking a legit question: how come they never introduced Gus in the comics? I guess the popularity of these characters weren't like the popularity of characters like Harley Quinn or Renee Montoya, where fans were like, "Hey, it'd be really cool if we put these characters from the cartoon into the comic books." I guess there weren't people standing in line for Gus comic book moments, even though he was a super hacker with super abilities of hacking computers.
Yeah, he'd strangely understood computers for never having really been around one before.
Not a job for 36 weeks, man. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't around computers.
Exactly, but I mean, he took it in stride. And he's really good at pretending to be an army general too. That was an interesting scene as well. But so basically, one of the
original computer, the original idea for the super, that's what I was talking about. Like Brainiac was the idea. Supercomputer was going to be Brainiac, but that got scrapped to budget concerns. In other words, they couldn't have paid money for Richard Pryor. And then you have to think like, if look, I still think those special effects are creepy. Especially
special effects are cool, but
no,
it was
when
weird.
she opens her eyes, are you like, how? Okay, I get the skin around her eyes being silver. How the hell did they get her whole eyeball to be silver? Did they spray paint her eyeball? I mean, contact's one thing, but you still have white in your eyes. Did they end up spray painting her eyeballs? Is that what they did?
I think so. That's what they had to have done.
As a kid, that lady used to creep me out. Just the way it was filmed, like the robotic pieces coming on her. Oh yeah. See, this shows you the multi-complex character.
Yeah, like it was so weird.
Lorelai.
The entire movie, you don't get the idea because she talks in the stereotypical sexy girl has little dumb baby voice, which is like what she has.
It was the 80s.
And then she makes this really interesting comment about what Immanuel Kant's trying to say in his book, and I was like, that's strange characterization.
Maybe she's just playing the part.
Yeah, but it shows up like over halfway into the film. Anyways, but enough. So there's also the other subplot. So they eventually have to get Superman, right? They're trying to turn on Superman because Superman's hindering their plans. Mm-hmm. And so Webster found kryptonite because he found out that kryptonite is Superman's weakness. And he tells Richard Pryor's Gus that he has to, because he's in this, right? He's in this for the long haul because he still can blackmail him for what he's done. And he needs to take this kryptonite and get it in the hands of Superman. So Superman comes back to Smallville after the reunion's over. Clark does return, but then Superman comes back because Lana Lang asks him if Superman could show up at Ricky's birthday party because earlier when he was still there, he saved Ricky from what could have been a very Jeremy Renner situation, but it did not because Superman was there to save him. He didn't get run over by like some big, piece of equipment. And so Superman comes and they decide to hold this big event for Superman in Smallville. And Richard Pryor character shows up as a fake army general talking about how good chemicals are and plastic.
I wish we had found a still of that the most generic cake you could find for Superman. It was like fake Superman. It's just his Superman logo. I'm like, where did they get that? Walmart? And I'm not dissing anybody that gets birthday cakes for their kids at Walmart. I'm just saying that, okay, right? See what I mean? I'm just saying that it's Superman in your small ass town. Maybe you need to fork over some money, Mayor. Just saying.
It was just a weird thing because, yes, Superman had just in days prior saved the chemical plant near Smallville that was on fire.
Where Jimmy got his leg broken for not listening.
Poor Jimmy. Yeah, but then he used and I still don't know how all that water from the lake could stop a chemical plant fire. Because wouldn't there be is it just a regular fire? Wouldn't it be a chemical fire? And would it really right? There's so many questions I have.
Anyway, trying to use logic to review.
I was, but anyways, during this scene, Richard Pryor's character, while he's talking about the wonders of chemicals and plastic and how great it is, and America needs plastic, we want to thank Superman, and he gives him this gift, which is the kryptonite, and Superman just staring at it what the heck? And because it doesn't do anything, they think. And then we get the subplot of Superman goes bad because the kryptonite was messed up where it didn't make him weak, but it changed his personality, much like the symbiote changes Peter Parker's personality. But Clark was already a bad dancer before.
Symbiote. Oh.
But Clark was already a bad dancer before he turned bad. If you remember the dance he was doing in the reunion, it was a weird looking dance. And
it was a weird looking dance.
He starts doing mean things. His suit somehow kind of gets darker, it's dirty looking dark. And he fixes the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Okay, let's listen to this one first.
He breaks, I guess.
That's when you know you're hard up. It's when your clothes get all dirty.
You know when you're bad, when you're drinking in a bar, you have dark clothes.
You start flicking peanuts at the glass.
And he also blows out the fire. He could have. And he blows out the fire of the Olympic Games. Just bad things.
This goes back to the Superman's a dick days of in the Silver Age. But yeah, Superman straightens the Tower of Pisa, and I actually like that part where the Italian guys he was selling all his Leaning Tower pieces.
He's like, well, this is.
He's like, damn it. Why didn't they just make it a different colored kryptonite? I don't know if that was in the script. It is really interesting why they did some of the things they did in this movie. If you're presenting 80 Superman with a cake, you need to have Eric. Yes, my man. That's right. Under Siege, baby. This movie was so dumb, man.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was just confused. I was because I thought,
There's a lot of adult elements in it that as a child,
well,
I think like I wouldn't understand or care for because it's not presented in a
even as a kid,
kid-like
I was
way.
not complaining about this at all.
Well,
Even as a
okay,
kid, I was
not
not
that.
complaining about that at all. My complaint was, where's the bad guys? Like, who's is Richard Pryor the bad guy? Because I feel like he's a good
Ew.
guy, and Superman
It
was
has to be
a
that.
bad guy. And then we have this weird fight. I want to know what you think about this, because I've had thoughts about this for years. We get a fight between Clark Kent and Superman.
A very existential fight. So
Is that,
it's like, is it
but
really him? Like,
it's
did
not
Ray
really
separate his
explained as to they don't bother taking time explaining why it's happening or what the conclusion was. Like, did he absorb evil Superman into him?
I
And
guess
poof,
that's what happened. He just disappeared after Clark won. It just like evil Superman disappeared, and I guess he was okay again. The inner battle, Clark won out. That's how I took it. And I thought was it after when he tried to make the creepy move on Lana Lang, even though far away someone needed rescuing, and he's like, "Oh, I got all the time in the world," and he like makes that creepy move on Lana. She's like, "What?"
that was awesome.
Oh gosh, I was like, "Where is this going?"
It was so awesome because it made no sense. That's when you know Superman was just not right. Like, what's happening? You know, one of my favorite moments is when Lana's kid is knocked out and the what are they called? The hay.
The hay bale? Is that what those are called?
Oh,
No.
the bells are the actual things, but like whatever they cuts the big grass, they're coming to run over him.
Oh, it's not called a baler, right?
No. Whatever the hell's cutting the tall grass that's coming to cut him.
I know what you're talking about.
Superman looks out there and he's like, "Oh, I got to come up with an excuse." Okay, I get it. You got to come up with an excuse.
Header.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
But why the hell do you have to take the time to change into Superman and run over there and rescue him when you could have just as easily done it as Clark Kent? I know it's for dramatic purposes and
he's fast. It doesn't matter. He's even faster than the fastest man alive. So
it was just weird because that kid's about to get run over and you're over there just taking your time turning into Superman so you can fly off screen and turn back around.
It was crazy.
Interesting. It was an interesting move. There were a lot of interesting choices in this movie. But go ahead. What else happened?
Did we already get Beeper Leaper super chat?
No, I did not.
Yes, thank you for super chat, Beeper Leaper. As a kid, I always had a soft spot for the junkyard fight between Superman and 5 o'clock Shadow Superman.
5 o'clock Shadow Superman.
That's true. That is
kind of cool, actually. I feel that. I'm the older I get, the more I feel. Yeah, I get that. So people are saying, you know, guys, when he splits, I always thought all the fight between Supes and Clark was all fighting his mind. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. It's just not. It's not laid out. They don't ever say it.
Existential. That's what it is.
The best part of that bar scene with Superman is the meme with Adam West Batman added saying, "You know who to take a shot." Your parents. Yes.
Oh wow.
That's a good one. When evil Superman is flicking peanuts in Superman 3, Kara does the same thing in Supergirl season 1, episode 16, Falling. Huh?
That's a cute callback.
I think so. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because after he becomes good again, and once he's not evil anymore, Superman, he has to go and stop the supercomputer that the Websters and Gus had to get to via these hot air balloons or what? What they jumped down their balloons, and Vera was like made the comment to Gus about how, you know, she doesn't understand why he can't take a balloon down to the computer layer like the rest of them, and he's like, "I just don't believe a man can fly." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny because Superman can fly." And he took a donkey instead all the way down.
You're having too much fun with this review, Amanda.
I am. And it's not just the wine. So they get to the supercomputer and Clark's there, or Superman's there to stop them. But of course, come to realize that the computer, they had turned it into a weapon against Superman. But then Gus tries to stop it because he realizes he didn't want to create a weapon that kills Superman.
He turns
not
pretty
that
quick.
Bad of a guy. So he races and hacks it up. But at this point, the computer's created a mind of its own. So that's a whole new story where our computers can become AI, which is, not
That's
that
where
far
we
in the
are now.
future.
That's where we are now.
So there we go. I guess it was future telling. And it traps Vera and turns her into some of cyborg, which is what that picture is.
I'm really trying to find a shot of her eyes because I'm freaking out. That
she kills Lorelai, like.
Does she kill her? She just like pushes her off, right?
I thought she used a beam at her. I thought she's like.
But she was just hanging there.
Maybe she's still alive. Maybe, I don't know. So, but eventually they are able to stop the supercomputer, and he has to get Gus out of there, and he flies him, which is the picture behind us, to safety. And they land in like, it's like an oil, or it's like some like construction site of some kind. And he's like, does your boss have a computer? And these guys are like, I think he has a small one. We'll give this guy a job. Like, what the hell? So random.
He said he could do a lot worse than give Gus a job.
Yes.
Here's something funny too, behind the scenes.
Yes.
Richard Pryor was deathly afraid of the heights.
Oh, so that's very, very accurate.
Yeah.
Then.
So there was an ongoing joke apparently that he uses the line from Lois Lane where Superman or Christopher Reeve was like, "I got you," and he was like, "Well, who's got you?" Like, that line. Yeah. but apparently he used that a lot. Like he was afraid of heights.
Oh, poor Richard Pryor. But yeah, so then after the
fact, I'll be right here.
Yeah, so Lana had moved to Metropolis with Ricky and Clark. While after Superman saves Gus, then he fixes the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and he goes and gets some coal and turns it into a diamond because Lana had told him earlier how she had to pawn her own diamond ring off for money. And then he returns to Metropolis back as Clark Kent, visits Lana and tells her, Superman wanted you to have this. And I know you're supposed to go to dinner with Superman, but he can't make it. So why don't you go to dinner with me instead? And then, of course, drunk Brad somehow makes it to Metropolis and shows up for just one last scene to be a dick. Which never goes well.
No, not before Lois Lane gets a little bit jealous, right? She looks at the diamond and she's like, "What? Clark gave you that? What's going on there?"
And she shows up. She came back from Bermuda with a story where she got kidnapped by the taxi driver, and there was some corruption stuff. And then that's when it's revealed that Perry has a new secretary, and that is Lana. And then she's like, "Well, nice ring." She's like, "Oh, Clark got it for me." And there's some awkwardness that I don't remember seeing in just Superman 4. Did I miss that? Do we need to go rewatch Don?
We do not need to watch Superman 4 for a long time.
Okay.
What's up,
Shane? I don't remember that.
I'm okay with that watching Superman 4 for a while. We've already reviewed it.
But that was essentially that's Superman 3.
That is Superman 3 in a nutshell. My goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
People kept bringing this up, so I have to bring it up. Yeah, the plot to Office Space is exactly what Gus was doing.
True.
It's the same plot. They actually bring it up in Office Space. They're like, that's the plot to Superman 3, right? And apparently, what's his name is a huge fan of Superman 3. The Cornetta trilogy guy. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead.
What's his? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now you have me thinking because I would have had the name.
I know. I can't think of his name. Jason Alexander. Nope. He's got 3 names, doesn't he?
He's in Star Trek 2.
What? Star Trek 2?
No, he's in Star Trek as well. The new reimagined Simon Pegg.
No, not Simon Pegg. The director.
Edgar Wright. That I don't know.
Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright. The guy that was supposed to direct Ant-Man.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the director, not Simon Pegg.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I wasn't the only one who thought that, though.
No, you're not, because my dude Jeff was like, Simon Pegg. Oh, my bad, Jeff. I just did a bad job explaining myself like I normally do.
I thought you meant the guy because he did all those movies.
No, you're right. That would have been a good answer, but
he acted in all of them. Yeah, so there we go. So you've seen this before.
I've seen this a couple of times. I saw it once. So when I saw this for the first time, I saw it when I was living in Peru. And the way that this was shown was the same way Superman 1 was shown. I went to see Superman 2. Was it in theaters? But Superman 1 was shown in 2 parts. Like one night, it was Sunday night, and then the next night on Monday night. Superman 3 was shown in 2 parts as well. And then when the television version of Superman 2 was shown, it was shown in two parts, 2 different nights.
Yeah.
I did not bother watching the second part of Superman 3 because I was just like, this, what's happening to this movie as a kid? And then later on, I watched this. No, I didn't care to watch it, to go back and watch the first part when they came back a couple of months later. So I just watched the second part. And then I watched it in America when I think it was on Cinemax or HBO a couple of times, and then on TV from time to time. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen this movie in probably, it's been 20 years since I've seen this movie.
Wow. So you haven't revisited it like in the last 10 years at least now?
No. I mean, look where we are, like how much things have changed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to my amazing Spider-Man 3 connection whenever we did Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Whenever we went and did that, was it really that good? And then we did, was it really that bad with Spider-Man 3 by Sam Raimi?
Yeah.
That's when I understood, oh, this is what people see in Thor Ragnarok. Like I like Thor Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
But I saw why people hated it because it was so different than Thor 1 and 2. And I feel like this was 1983's Spider-Man 3, or I guess Thor Love and Thunder, or Thor Ragnarok if you want to.
Thor Love and Thunder, but okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like,
yeah,
oh, they really changed the tone, and they were trying to do something else that just did not click with anybody, whether it was Richard Pryor or whether it was Christopher Reeve that had to rewrite the script. It didn't work. The villains didn't work. The two stories didn't really come together. I appreciated aspects of it, but it was just kind of a mess.
Yeah, and I can see that. So I never saw Superman 2, but Superman 1 and this have very different tones. And while there's still similarities, you have a rich businessman who's trying to somehow, who's trying to get the downfall of Superman, right? There's still that, and wants control of everything. There's still those same elements. It's like almost like they're rehashing a similar plot because they knew, well, it worked the first time, so maybe it'll work the third time. And then we'll add some comedy to give it some lightheartedness. But I don't know if it was not good comedy back in 83, but it doesn't age now very well either.
Well, comedy was different back then, but even back then, I mean, I still go back and see Richard Pryor. Well, Richard Pryor's stand-up is a lot different than Richard Pryor movies. But his movies were a lot different. He was a funny guy and he couldn't help himself.
Yeah,
and he just wasn't that funny guy here. But it almost felt like the script asked him to be, even though he didn't want to be. And I feel like that might have been the conflict and part of the problem. But honestly, like, I actually liked Gus this time around. Like I said, I haven't seen this movie in 20 years. I actually was okay with Gus. Because at first, when I was younger, I was like, oh, Gus is the problem with this movie. And that's not the problem with this movie at all. I can actually see what they were going for, but it just kind of became a convoluted mess when, well,
wouldn't it just been cool for him to become a villain all on his own without the Websters? Like, wouldn't it just be like for somehow to him become some type of villain on his own with a redemption arc instead of having these just terrible people involved?
Right? Why did we have to have a Lex Luthor type of character again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
with like a silly secretary and a weird sister, and he also had a butler who was in it.
He was in it for one scene,
briefly, very briefly. Yeah, I think they could have went a different direction with it without having, they thought they were being safe keeping the same elements. And yes, while I remember when I did the review of Superman 1, Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor was maybe a little cartoonish to me, but he definitely had more charisma and just like, then like Webster and his sidekick sister who was awful.
I think one of the things about this movie that I noticed this time around, and Bert was mentioning that it's the 15th anniversary or 45th anniversary of Superman 1. And I think that 4K set comes out. I can't remember when it comes out. It comes out this year. I kind of want to get it. So the special effects in this movie weren't the greatest, but there's some really good moments for the time. Like that fight with the missiles was really good. I think the flying is the best out of 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes.
And Christopher Reeve was in his most fit. Like, he was a big guy in this movie. 1 and 2, he was big, he worked out, but in this one, you could tell he was built for that role of Superman.
Oh, yeah.
So there were some things that were going for it. And like I said, I think this, for the time, the flight special effects look great. Like when he's flying into the Grand Canyon, that's smooth, even though they're using, of course they're using a green screen, or I guess it had to have been a green screen because he's wearing blue.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the missile fights. I love that was pretty cool for back then. 4K set comes out May 9th. My dude, thank you all so much.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you, brother. Omar, Amanda, what do you prefer? Kentucky bourbon or Superman's drink of choice, Johnny Walker Red? No wonder Johnny Walker's the choice for DC fans. I gotta go with bourbon, man. I used to work at a distillery, but you gotta mix it with cranberry juice, baby.
I dislike both choices because I don't like that type of alcohol. But if I had to choose, I would choose Kentucky bourbon.
That's right. Represent. I saw that once with the extras, I think split between both versions of 2, and now I can't find it. Yeah, I think, ever since they did the DVD set, right?
Yeah.
Like the 35th anniversary, they've done both versions of 2. So 2, and it's a little bit of history. I think we talked about it years ago whenever we reviewed the first Superman. Was it? I can't remember, first time view review or something, whatever we were calling it.
First retro review we did.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun to go back and watch. But we talked a little bit about it, that at one time those movies were, or at one time 1 and 2 were supposed to be different. The ending to 1 was actually the ending of Richard Donner's 2, but because of everything with the studio, they let Richard Donner go. So the director of this movie stepped in to finish directing or reshoot a lot of scenes for Superman 2. So the DVD, and I assume the 4K, will have both versions. Unfortunately, what is known as the Richard Donner cut isn't really polished because there are some scenes that are spliced in that were not supposed to be taken, like Superman's hair's or Christopher Reeve's like his hair's messed up.
Yeah.
So there are scenes that weren't really supposed to go into the final movie that they just kind of put into the movie. So it's really interesting.
That is really
Wasn't 3 just an extended blooper reel of 1 and 2? Jeff, how are you, buddy? No. No, it was not. The 4K will have both versions of Superman 2. That's what's up. So
they have a commentary on there about like why they chose the direction they chose. Like, were they trying to go
why they fired him? I mean,
not that, but like the storyline, like why they chose this. Like,
because they still had to work with Richard Donner's original idea of having Brainiac, of having Superman go bad. So instead of having I'm so sorry, I can't remember who brought up it was my buddy. Kyle Rayner Reviews. Instead of having the supercomputer, it was supposed to be Brainiac that was supposed to manipulate Superman and make him go evil. There was no kryptonite. So, whoa, dude, Omar, I'm in Japan on holidays for the first time. My God, best country in the world. Dude, I'm going to be there in June. We're going to be there for like 2 weeks, man. I'm so excited. My daughter's upstairs watching Toy Shops in Japan to visit, and I'm trying to get my brain ready, but man, my heart's not ready to leave the channel. It's gonna be hard. I'll be honest with you. It's gonna be hard to leave this channel for a couple of weeks. Viva Peru, carajo! ¿Cómo estás, hermano? It was a good movie. I saw it in the cinema when I was a kid. Sean, okay.
Sean?
20th through July 5th, my brother. So let's see. What about you? What did you like about this movie? Then we can talk about all the things we didn't work for us.
Yeah, well, I have to say, like, what I really liked about the movie, I still love Christopher Reeves as Superman. Annette Toole coming in as Lana Lang, I thought was
from Virgin River.
Yes, from Virgin River, or Smallville, whatever you want to say. I love that actress. And she was really cute when she was younger too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was a little.
She's still attractive now, but I mean, yeah.
Oh, as the kids say these days, wood. Like when somebody, that's all they say.
Doer? Okay, got it.
Back in my day, we were a lot dirtier than that. Apparently, all you got to say now is wood.
Yeah. So so the storyline with him going back to Smallville, I kind of like the storyline, the idea of Clark revisiting his past and meeting up with Lana Lang and kind of, I wish they dived into it a little bit more because we're kept cutting to Gus and everything that him and the Websters were doing. But it was kind of cool to see him have to relive, what he was going on in Smallville and what that was like. I wish they had dived in a little bit more into that, which is why I probably like Smallville so much, I guess. Maybe that's why I like Smallville so much. I like that part. And what else did I like? You're right. Some of the special effects were good. Not this one in the junkyard scene where there is this one part I did not like where I guess where bad Superman punches Clark. And just when the way Clark's getting thrown back, just looks very like choppy where they were trying to get him to. It was a little choppy for me. But yeah, that was a cool storyline. And it was funny to see bad Superman be bad. So I'll say that was fun.
Yeah, I think Bad Superman worked.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous over the top.
It's weird because then we see like Man of Steel or like in where Superman like kills and stuff like that. You're like, where's this?
It definitely has a flair of like a Silver Age story than it does like I don't know if maybe it might work in a Taika Waititi Superman movie.
Oh, I feel like Taika Waititi would take Gus's character to like the nth degree. He would become a Korg. It would be like a Korg type of situation. That's what it would be.
Okay, I think Taika. Oh my gosh, I can never remember his name. I used to call him Taika Waititi, which is not his name.
Not his name.
Not his name. I think his and Richard Pryor's sense of humor are a lot different.
Very much so.
So yeah, I don't know if that would have worked. Somebody said earlier, like Gus, if they were to remake this today, Gus would be played by Kevin Hart.
Oh my God, 100%. If someone remade it today, yes, they would probably, if they wanted to go with the same tone, that would be Kevin Hart's character. And he would be.
Well, Kevin Hart is trying to become a serious actor, right? Like he's trying to have some serious roles.
Yeah,
like,
he has
was in that movie where his wife died and he has to raise his little girl.
And then the Netflix movie with Wesley Snipes, which was is it a series? Yeah, with Wesley Snipes. It's really good, where he plays a comedian, but he's caught up in his brother.
Oh yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, Wesley Snipes is his brother.
It's good. I mean, it's kind of dark, but yeah, he's funny, but he has to be serious.
I wasn't there until I remembered the skiing off the side of the building, because I could actually see Kevin Hart doing goofy stuff, skiing off the side of the building. So
I could see him pretending to be the army general, yelling at people about chemicals and plastic. But I could hear it in Kevin Hart's voice, and it would work for me because that's my type of humor. I love Kevin Hart.
I don't know. So we talked about some of the things that worked for us. Chris Rock as Gus, Will Smith as Superman. Will Smith sort of played a Superman character in Hancock, right?
Hancock, yeah.
What did not work for you? Because I feel like there's a huge list of things that did not work, which I'm assuming it's the same thing that did not work for a lot of people. But this is your first time watching this movie. You've never seen this movie. You've seen the first one time. You've never seen the second one. And we reviewed the fourth one. The fourth one a couple of years ago beat this one out whenever we did a poll.
Oh, did it really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people would rather just watch that. Yeah. Okay, so what's wrong with it? First, just the mashing of all the different plots. There's like a lot of different stories going on in this film, and I'm trying to figure out who the main character is, because I don't know if it was Superman all the time. So I don't think it was Gus was the main character, but there's too many plots that were trying to go on that didn't mesh well to me. Like why would the Websters choose to go after the Superman when he wasn't in his way at all? Like, you know what I mean? It just didn't make sense. And I did not like that they used the Websters as a stand-in for Lex Luthor. Just use the original bad guy or don't use it at all. Why can't we use some bad guys from actual Superman lore? Like, if they wanted a Brainiac, could they not keep Brainiac? It's not like he's Richard Donner's character. He's a Superman villain. They could have still used Brainiac if they wanted. Like, I guess I don't understand that either, because I would have liked to see more Superman actual villains. Like that's like why people go and watch these stuff, to see their actual comic characters reimagined, right? Like, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
That I didn't like. Yes, Snoop Dogg should play Gus. That'd be a great remake. I would watch it too. That I would watch.
No.
That I would watch. But yeah, the portrayal of some of the women, minus Lana Lang in this film, was meh. And that's just my own personal thing. But yeah, I was just not feeling it overall. That plot, it was a weird plot. It was weird. It was 2 hours too long. That's how I felt about the whole thing. Like the chemical plant fire scene, I felt like went on forever. And I was like, why is this going on so long? And little things that the villains did, like the ballooning, like everything. And it was supposed to be funny. I was like, oh, now you're just making all these guys cartoon villains. And just because they're from a comic book doesn't mean they have to be cartoony like a Looney Tunes character. Like that does not have to be the same thing. Anyway.
Okay, there was a couple of scenes that I did not remember because, like I said, I haven't seen this in 20 years. Like whenever he's using his super hearing, you can see the waves, like a cartoony wave, or even when he flies, like what they try to do with these special effects was blur out the background, but it just didn't work because it looked really hokey. And I think they dropped that early on. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it had more of a goofy, cartoony feel. The score feels like we're almost at John Williams, and then we pull back and do your own little hokey thing because you found out that Richard Pryor was going to be in this movie.
And there's comedy.
So you got to have some comedic like notes in there. I don't know what it was. It just felt like I can't quite put my finger on it. What I would describe it as. I don't want to say like a circus theme.
No, I know what you're talking about because that was very popular. That was very popular to do. Is when you have like comedic stuff in films, because back in the 80s or even in the 90s, it was big where you have like this comedic tone to the music. You don't see it a lot now because we want to let the jokes carry themselves for the most part. That's what we aim to do. But I guess they felt like they needed the comedic music to make the jokes land.
If there were jokes in there.
Or the physical comedy, because that's why I think a lot of it was physical comedy with Richard Pryor, right? A lot of it was some type of physical comedy.
Yeah, but it didn't need to be, right?
No,
outside of him just flying. And so this is so funny. Out of all the original Superman films, 3 is the most CW-ish, and Kenny's a huge fan of the CW.
Yeah, so I know.
Didn't say that. That's funny.
That is kind of funny.
Let's see. What else did not work? We talked about the plot not working and the stories. Acting was okay. Honestly, it was for what it was. It just, I thought Pryor did a good job not trying to be like his stereotypical Richard Pryor role. And yes, John Williams was also a victim of the Richard Donner cut.
You know, the last laugh, John Williams.
Well, keep in mind, well, he's retired now, man, and I wanted to see his concert one day, but I'll never get to see that.
Yeah, but he was like the oldest nominee at the Oscars this year.
Yeah, and he should have gotten a 10-minute standing ovation. That man is a freaking brilliant.
Yeah. Like I said, he got the last laugh.
So, I think one thing too is that Christopher Reeve was not going to be in this movie because he was also
a Richard Donner lawyer.
A Richard Donner, like just like Margot Kidder. So, I mean, the studio was just devastated. They were like, look, we can't do this without you. But then, of course, producers and everybody got involved. They're like, okay, you know what? We'll just recast them. There are so many rumors. One of the rumors I remember, I think it was in the DVD commentary. It was that Tony Danza got the role.
No.
Yeah. Tony Danza from Taxi. Because keep in mind, this is long before Who's the Boss.
Exactly.
He was huge in Taxi, and they were trying to recapture that magic of Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta from Welcome Back, Kotter. So it felt like Tony Danza was the guy that got it, and Christopher Reeve found out, and he didn't want to be upstaged by Tony Danza, or that the studio was upset that that's all they could get because John Travolta was also up for the role. I'm trying to think of who else. It was somebody else that kind of would have fit that role of Superman. But in the end, he decided to come back. Mostly, I think, because of the director, because he also, like I said, directed the leftovers of Superman 2.
Yeah.
What? Dude, what's up, man? Peter Dinklage as Mixie. How do you pronounce it, Hamza?
Hamza, repeat that pronunciation.
I always say Mixilla, please, right? Mixoplex actually sounds good. I don't think Peter Dinklage would want to be typecast as that. He actually made a big statement about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, talking about typecasting small people, little people, in those roles. And a lot of little people, actors, were really pissed off at him for making that comment, because not everybody can be Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, not everyone can have Game
of Thrones. Nobody has that same, you got your chance to glow, and now you can be in anything. We don't have that many chances to be. Yeah, so I don't think he would, but maybe somebody else. Pacino one?
Wow.
The studio wanted Paul Newman and Robert Redford in the original. I remember Redford in the original one.
I could see that. Robert Redford can see. I can't see Pacino as I can't see that. And I remember like so good, Godfather stuff. I just can't imagine him like that's a.
All right, Amanda, moment to shine.
Mixyezpidlik. What? I like the Mixoplex better.
Hamza's saying it. It's Mixyezpidlik. Spitlick?
Really? Mixyezpidlik.
Yo, where are my old dudes in the chat? They'll know. Because he had to say it all the time in the comics. Like, well, he had to say it backwards to feed him.
I don't know. Everyone's giving us different phrasing. I don't know. Oh, I do love Ben Schwartz.
Thank you for the super chat. Ben Schwartz.
I do love him. I do love that actor. He is funny.
What's he in?
So you remember in Parks and Rec, he was it Ralphio? Is that his name? He was Ansari's like rich little friend who had like all the money but was dumb as rocks. His sister, played by Jenny, can't think of her last name, but she dated Chris Evans. You don't know any of this stuff? Yeah. Oh God, what have you seen?
I have logged out of that conversation the minute you said. You remember what's his name's friend from Parks and Rec? I mean, I like Parks and Rec.
What have you seen? Okay, Ben Schwartz. Okay, have you seen? He was in what's that show on Showtime with Kristen Bell and Don Cheadle way back when, and he was in it as well. It was really good. He was in the after party. Okay. You didn't watch the after party, did you? Because I did. It was fantastic. It's on Apple TV Plus. He was the voice of Mark in the DC League of Super Pets. He's the voice of Sonic in Sonic the Hedgehog.
The movie, right?
Yes, the movie. What else has he been in that you would have? I'm trying to think of what you recognize. Okay.
I know. He looks familiar, or I know who he is.
You had to look him up. He's Dewey Duck in DuckTales, the Disney one that came out.
Oh yeah. Okay. Just watch Superman the animated series to learn how to pronounce it. What's up, fellow Kentuckian Norwolf? I remember seeing this in the theater at what was the old South Park, Lakes of the Kentucky represent. That's where I saw Digimon. And even as a kid, I can recall thinking, this isn't as good as I want it to be. No such thoughts when Superman wanted to. I think one of us did. All right, so Jeff is saying Phil Owens has it right with
Phil Owens.
Amanda, one more again. How you say it? Take another shot of wine and then
Yes, Piddle. Ms. Jess Piddle. I don't know how to say it, and I'm usually good with language.
That's a good doggy's name. Think of that. Omar, DC Who's Who has a pronunciation guide. Is it in the omnibus? I believe it is. Don Cheadle, isn't that the guy who looks exactly like? You brought him back. Yes, sir. Next time.
Yeah, it is the same guy. Yeah, you're right. The same guy.
All right. Everybody that's still in the chat and my wonderful co-host. Out of 10.
All right.
What would you give Superman 3? I don't think it has subtitled.
So
Gus is a mighty misadventures.
So for context, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an aggregate 30%.
I don't give a crap. I asked you what you would give it.
23% scored audience score. I would give this a 3 out of 10. I did not like this movie.
Wow, that's like one of your lowest. Like this is one of your lowest scores.
I will never watch this again.
Wow, one of your lowest scores.
And I love Superman. Maybe Henry Cavill's Superman. But I love me some Superman, but I will never watch this again.
This is a 5 out of 10. It had some things.
Okay.
But so many bad things. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go on and say it. I think part of me. Actually, no, I'll just go ahead and say it. I actually like this more than Love and Thunder. Like, this is better than Love and Thunder. Because at least the characters stayed true to who they were in the first movie, and second movie. Whereas Thor, the issue with Thor, Love and Thunder is that the characters were so hokey and cartoony that they were nothing like the movies in the
true.
Even in the third movie. So yeah. This over that movie, sorry. Somebody said 4 out of 10, but great lighting. My dude remembers the way I rated Catwoman.
I like how Kane's like question mark out of 10 because I don't remember the movie.
That's about the way I was, so I had to rewatch it.
Yeah.
4 out of 10. Great lighting. That's right, my dude.
Ted gave it a generous 4 out of 10.
Generous. Did anybody rate it high? Where's all the high people at?
Someone gave it a 6 of above. I think Italian NYC. Matt,
okay, there we go.
Interesting. How would you rank all Superman movies? That would be a fun video to do.
Amanda would have to rewatch 3 and 4 to give it a
and I'll have to watch 2.
2 is great.
Yeah, I haven't watched 2 yet, so I would like to do that. And then, he hasn't watched. Yeah, earlier he said he's only watched halfway through, never finished it. So,
okay, yeah. What's up, Bar? How are you? Mr. Vic gives it a 4 out of 10. Yes, it was that bad.
Yeah, it was that bad.
I don't know. I didn't. Damn it, Bar! You can't rate it.
Thank you.
Andy Serkis says Solomon Grundy.
That would be so perfect.
But we can't typecast him. He's going to get tired of being typecasted as the CG guy, right? That's what happens. People start typecasting in Hollywood. You'd have to be high to give it a high rating.
Thank you,
Jeff, you can't hate on people for giving it a high rating. I'm high, but only still give it a 5 as well. I don't think it would help. I gave it a 5. I think it's, and like I said, I can't remember. I think that's better than Ant-Man and Quantumania, right? I think I gave that a 4, maybe a 5.5. I can't remember what I gave that.
You gave it around a 4 or 5. You gave it, yeah. But you didn't give Thor: Love and Thunder a 3. I don't remember you giving it that low. Like, I think you gave it like a 5.
Was it a 5? I still think this movie was better.
But I think sometimes when we first watch a film, I think we're more generous with our ratings, like right after watching it, than we would have been if we go back and rewatch it.
I was not with Ant-Man. I was done by
Ant-Man I was disappointed with Ant-Man, just as I was disappointed with Shazam, just as I have been disappointed with very many superhero films of late. Both versions of number 2, Amanda.
Yeah, you gotta do both Amanda.
Oh, there's 2 versions?
I just explained. Like, did you even listen to me?
Reading the comments. I'm so sorry.
I said Richard.
The reason we get along so well is because we never listen to each other.
You were shaking your head, or you were nodding your head, agreeing with me.
That's what makes it so great. We never.
Yeah, I don't listen to half the shit you say either. All right,
I know.
This week. No, it is. If it's important, I listen to you. Okay. This week to pregame for Superman on the big screen, I read Birthright.
Nice.
Earth 1, Volume 1, Kingdom Come, watch Man of Steel, reading Man of Steel this weekend, Reels Talk with the Superman 3. I'm sorry we ruined your streak of awesomeness with this.
I'm sorry.
Although some people don't like Man of Steel. Some people hate Man of Steel.
We did that. Didn't we do what's really about Man of Steel? We did, because I had a gif of Henry Cavill showering. Or no, he was wet. It was wet. It was in his burly, like.
Right. Yes, that's that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, you do?
No, I don't remember that. Why would I remember that? I don't remember the kind of gifts you get. Mixoplex. Boy, everybody's got a different one. 5 out of 10. Need to wait 8 more days for the high people, Omar.
Yeah.
Oh, is it 420? Are we that close to 420? Did you see the short trailer for the Penguin? Yeah, so we're going to talk about some movie things because there's a lot of things that drop, like trailers and news.
Yeah.
Like the entire cast of the DC, what was it? The Monster? I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up here in a second.
Yeah, look it up.
I was by that I mean you. Can you go look that up real quick?
Love
it. Them. I give them all 100.
Nice.
You give all out of 10, Michael.
That is a high rating.
I agree on Quantum Mania. I don't know. I didn't watch that either.
Yeah.
Like, look, here's the ranking, right? Like, all those movies are still better than Harley Quinn. There you go, Bar. Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. Oh, have you seen that, Bar? What did you think of that movie? I gotta ask.
That movie. It was.
What did you think of Harley Quinn? What the hell was it called? It was like Harley Quinn and
the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, or the Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. Isn't that what it's called?
There was one scene that made me laugh my butt off when she got the thing in her chest.
Yeah.
Everything else about that movie was awful.
Like, nope.
I rate this 10 occult detectives out of New Warriors. That's some damn high rating, dude. Season 3, Superman 3 is better than Multiverse of Matt.
Marvel. Omar actually kind of like that with
You're
the
a Kentucky boy. Multiverse of Madness, I loved it, man. Okay, but that's okay. You're forgiven. You're a cool guy. Everyone unsubscribe from Near Mint Condition and go on OmniDog's channel. He's much better. Oh, you should hear the way that OmniDog talks about you, Bar.
Oh my God, what's happening?
I just went there. Now you got to go ahead and ask Jess. Harley Quinn, the animated series, is effing awesome and hilarious, though. I love that show.
Yeah, that is a great show.
I can't even remember it. Little known fact, the movie was actually called Man of Steel due to his and his dad's lack of emotion. That's not, stop it.
That's not true.
We'll be talking about The Mandalorian. We will be reviewing once it ends. Yeah, because I still need to catch up.
Yeah.
All I know is that Jack Black's in it, and that's it. Creature Commandos, Amanda, if you don't mind, look that up. Look up the cast of Creature Commandos.
Okay.
You on that? Mm-hmm. The Continental teaser dropped today, too. Looks really good.
It did.
The Marvels trailer looked fun. Miss Marvel carried the trailer. All right. We need to talk about the Marvels. All right.
All right.
So there's one thing I'm super excited about in the Marvels, and it's right here. That lady on the top left. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for her to be in this movie. It's gonna be so good. Anybody get it? Marvels? No.
Because Marvels. No.
The
way she's dressed, it does fit in very well. But we get our first teaser trailer of the Marvels, and I think when Omar and I were both texting about this, we're like, "Oh, it looks good," but then we said the same thing about Thor: Love and Thunder. We said the same thing about like Ant-Man: Quantumania. So we're still, we still are a little hesitant, but Kamala Khan, no doubt. Iman Vellani, she really steals a lot of that trailer.
She in that trailer.
That girl is just, they did a good job when they casted her. Can I just say that was one thing they did right in this whole phase, casting Ms. Marvel. They did a really good job.
Because she's an actual fangirl.
Yes.
That is playing a fangirl of these fictional
characters. It's very meta. I'm
good with that. She's adorable, and I love the fact that I mentioned this. I can't remember what I gave her show. I think it might have been a 7.5 or an 8 because I really enjoyed it. Because you rarely see a family in a superhero show.
Yes.
Like it's rare that you see a family together. One of them hasn't been killed, nothing bad. And the dad and her relationship is just so adorable. I loved it. So I'm happy to see her play a big role in this. And we kind of called it. I'm like, okay, they're going to go the Rick Jones and Marvel type of story where when the quantum bands are touched, they switch sides. Like Rick Jones will go to the negative zone and get like cancerous cells put in his body while Captain Marvel's jumping around, like hooking up with chicks left and right. Okay, in my head, that's what happened when I was a teenager. I'm like, dude, Captain Marvel, you just gonna leave Rick Jones in the negative zone?
That's what's happening in this movie.
No, that's not what's happening at all.
Cells,
but yes, in this movie, it seems like they're switching locations, right? And it's not just Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. No, but it's also Spectrum that's switching locations of where they are, and I guess they can't ever tell. I thought it was the greatest reaction to a Flurkin, though. Like that is a genuine good reaction.
She freaked out when the Flurkin killed those people. She's like, ah! It was so cute. Yes, and I was just telling Omar, I was like, the one thing I noticed is they tried to give Brie Larson more personality. At least it shows in the trailer they're trying to give her personality because there was a lot of comments about how she lacked any personality or emotion in Captain Marvel, the 2016 movie.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie. This one looks fun. Really quickly, hello. First of all, congratulations on both your collections. I live in Turkey. Our country's in the middle of an economic crisis, so comics are so expensive. Can you send me some, please? I like sending things to people. I do it all the time. I just sent 15 boxes last week. If if you email me and you're willing to pay for shipping, I will send you a box of stuff. I promise. But I'm not gonna lie. Shipping is expensive, and I just shipped a bunch of stuff. Otherwise, I would do it. But there you go. All the ladies in that movie are cute. Don't judge me. Iman Vellani's not an actual. No, she's 20.
No, she's not. Yes,
I'm in a group chat with a bunch of dudes that were crushing on her, and I'm like, I'm double checking. Yeah, you guys are good. You guys are good.
Okay, Hamza. That's how people gave. That's the reaction people gave to me about Tom Holland. I was like, he's an adult, and he's even more of an adult now.
I don't think that's why.
Okay.
Did they call her Photon or Spectrum?
It's Photon. It's Photon.
Thank you for that, Matt.
That's right. It's Photon.
That's my girl though. Like out of the three, Photon.
Oh, but no, I do. I'm really excited. I don't. So, is it Zawa Ashton, which is Tom Hiddleston's wife now? So I guess she's going to be playing a Kree villain. I think that was leaked. I don't remember. Is it Dar?
Okay, so what's going on with that, everybody? Like, I thought she was playing a different character because of the way that she looks. So in Kelly Thompson's run, we're introduced to her half sister. She's a half sister. Her name is L'Oreal. That's what she looks like because she has Ronin's hammer.
Yes.
So I thought that's who she's playing, but apparently somebody else was telling me that she is a gender swapped version of a character that I didn't even know who the hell it was. I'm like, okay, I've read comics for years. I don't know who that is. Who are you talking about? So,
and that's Dar Ben, I think is the name of the character.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and so
I'll be honest, I don't know.
According to this lovely stuff I'm looking up, it was a Kree warrior who originally was depicted as a male when he debuted in Silver Surfer's comics in the 1990s. He is a high-ranking member of the Kree military empire and possesses an accuser's hammer like the one used by Ronin.
Okay, so it's a different character.
Yes.
And what is his name again? Hold on a second. Sorry. Can you look up his name again? How can I find your email address? Oh, sorry. Thank you.
No,
Thank you. That's my email. Shoot me an email, man. Seriously, I'll be happy to send you some books, but you got to pay for shipping, and shipping is expensive. So even if I hook you up with some books, you're gonna pay out the wazoo for shipping, man. So it's not her, and this is confirmed or not?
So that it was officially revealed by Disney. So if I was to go onto IMDb right now, I believe that it should show her character as that.
Okay, so there you have it. There, all right. So that's who it's supposed to be. Yeah, trailer overall. I love the fact that they're using Beastie Boys. There's 3 of them. There were 3 Beastie Boys. Intergalactic. Come on. I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's like they actually put some thought. You know what I love the most about it is one of the biggest issues I had about Captain Marvel is that the songs that they chose, not that they were awful, they just didn't fit. And I understand that we're trying to pick, I think they were all female songs, right? Female-led songs with female lead singers, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes the songs just felt so out of place. This, it seems like, okay, that may not have worked. Let's go ahead and throw in some Beastie Boys. Everybody likes the Beastie Boys. So they did it. And now again, they used Guns N' Roses and Love and Thunder. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the best.
We're all excited. And I thought we were going to get young and old Thor and all that stuff because we saw that montage in the beginning and we got none of the Jason era, which we just did another Old Reader New Reader on yesterday. If you guys did not see us on there, we were on there too. So check that out. And we only minimally talked about our dislike of Thor Love and Thunder for ruining such good storylines, but just minimally.
Superman 3 has 4 good things. Evil Superman, Annette O'Toole. I agree with that. Pamela Stevenson's body and breast, especially in that red. I love Michael. Very subtle, very subtle. I like that. And Robert Vaughn, who I love that Robert Vaughn was a guy. Hold on a second. I thought it was interesting that the way I didn't catch this as a kid, but when when Lois Lane is looking at pictures of the guy, she's like, "Oh, and he's really handsome."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really, Robert Vaughn?" And I'm trying to think, okay, how old was Robert Vaughn at the time? Because he's born in 32, and this is 80, so he's probably like in his late 40s, early 50s. But it was interesting that a character like Lois Lane would be like, "Oh, he's a very handsome man." And my brother, de otra madre, feliz cumpleaños, Amanda.
Yes, happy birthday.
Síngame a happy birthday in español, porque eres peruano.
Why?
I just said because he's
okay. Feliz cumpleaños. Wait, cumpleaños feliz.
There you go.
Nope.
Keep going. You got it. I'll make it better. There we go. Now sing it. My favorite female comic book movie, was it Captain Marvel? Was that it?
Yeah.
He was the villain in Basketball. Dude, I love that movie. That was written by the actually it started the South Park guys.
No, Amadeus finished that. Sorry, Amadeus finished.
What? That's another movie I would love to revisit, man.
Just why? For the basketball scene. It's the basketball scene. So I can sing my song.
And correction. Thank you, Phil Owens. Almost an all-female soundtrack. Nirvana and REM are in there. Thank you, sir. And that was Salma Hayek. And Amanda voicing her Spanish happy birthday.
That was not, but that's okay.
So, yeah, excited for it, but we'll see. Keeping an open mind. I'm excited for Guardians 3.
That comes out
also
soon.
Keeping an open mind. I just got to interview Andy Lanning, who was, of course, part of the DNA. He wrote Annihilation, Conquest, Annihilation, War of Kings. And it's awesome, the story that he told about James Gunn, like him tweeting James Gunn. When James Gunn was in London reading an issue of Hawkman, he's like, "You should be reading Guardians of the Galaxy." And he's like, "I've already done my research." And then he DM'd him. He's like, "Hey, we're actually filming in London. Do you want to come?" Because their run inspired Guardians of the Galaxy. That James Gunn version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's really cool.
Okay, buddy. Any update on the special announcement you're making soon? Countdown will begin. I'm filming it tomorrow, so it's up to Marvel when it's released. I have to release it to coincide with their another now. I get to play a big part of this, and it's really cool. I have to release it to coincide with their announcements. So we're all working. I'm working with a separate team that David's put me with, and it's really cool how it's all coming together. So hopefully everybody will be excited. Haven't seen John Wick 4 yet. Amanda has. But I did see Super Mario.
You haven't seen John Wick 4 yet?
I haven't had time. I'm making videos and reading.
Well, I haven't seen Super Mario Brothers, but we're going tomorrow, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Which, that movie made a ton of money. It broke all kinds of records. And I was never seeing that coming because everyone gave Chris Pratt crap about his voice in the original trailer. Never saw it coming that movie would. It broke a lot of records. I never saw that coming.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is a kid's movie, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's written like a kid's movie. It's not like it's the Lego. It's not the Lego movie. The Lego movie was in different layers and it was good. Super Mario is just fun. It's goofy. Your kids are going to love it. And the other people that love it are the people like my age that grew up on Nintendo. And I was with my brothers and we were like, it's Duck Hunt. It's watch out. It's like the whole time my daughters were just laughing and we were just like, I'm not kidding. It's like Easter eggs left and right. And I love it. And, it's one of these things where critics, I get it. My brother told me how horrible the critics were hating on it.
Oh, they did hate on it pretty bad.
And I get it, right? Because if you're reviewing it as a movie, no, it's not a good movie, but it's a movie about having fun. But there are movies that you can have fun and still be good too.
Yeah, it's not
this one's definitely geared towards kids.
It's not like Puss in Boots where it appeals to adults, but kids also like it, right?
Yes, kids love it. And we've seen movies where it can be. I mean, Pixar is a master at making that stuff.
They are.
Like making a good kids movie and making it fun and also wholesome for adults.
Yeah,
So
with layers that adults understand that maybe kids don't really get, but
we've actually reviewed the original Mario Brothers.
We sure did.
The astonishing because the astonishing Melody loves that movie, and Amanda and I were like, "Kill me now! This is awful," and it has always been awful. But my wife loves it, so she joined us for that. That was, I think, 2019. It was before it was after the pandemic. I think it was 2020.
Yeah, it was after the pandemic.
Yeah. It was just funny because she was like, I get to choose a movie, and it was Mario Brothers. So if my wife only likes like 10 movies, she doesn't like movies. She likes 10 movies, and for some reason, that's one. So she's like, you guys are going to have to review the original Mortal Kombat. She loves that movie too.
We do the new one too that had
come out? We wanted to. But it was so awful that I think
it was so bad.
I have a confession. I've never played Mario games.
Oh, wow.
Good. They're good, Bar. Really quick, thank you so much, my brother, Jeff Hartz, for shipping my brother. And head to Walmart. Hot Wheels just released a Batman Forever Batmobile, a kit concept car. Bought a bunch to give kids at my local comic book shop on Free Comic Book Day, which is coming up.
That's really cool.
And as kids, giveaways at local cons. I need to see when Free Comic Book Day is because
I'm excited for that.
It's in May. Omar, Amanda, what is your home theater setup? Mine is to be determined. I need to finish the room behind me, so it's not. I have a Sonos soundbar, which is amazing. Which if you don't have the room for speakers, get you a wireless Sonos soundbar. They are extremely expensive, but well worth the money. Like, I'm serious. That's in the living room. But until I get this room finished, I can't put anything up, man. Amanda.
My home, I don't have much of a fancy home theater setup. Though the house we bought just this past August does have setups already for surround sound speakers if we wanted them. It hasn't been on our priority list because we're usually watching movies with our kids, and that means we have the closed captioning on because 1,000 things are happening at once. So that's how I watch my things these days. So the only time I get an actual, like, real true experience is if I go to the movies, and that's how I like it. So,
and I'll be honest with you, the movies, I love going to the movie theaters because it's the only place I can disconnect from life.
Agreed.
Like, put my phone up. My phone vibrates in my pocket. It goes nuts sometimes when I'm in a couple of group chats that are just blowing up. I don't care. It could be the stupidest movie too, like a movie that I'm not enjoying, and I still get lost in it. It's just the magic of theaters, man. Pixar has been hit and miss lately. Truer words.
Yeah.
That is fact.
But there's been some good ones that have unfortunately been sent straight to streaming, and that was partly due to Bob Chapek trying to like ramp up the streaming, and it resulted in him losing profits, and that's why he's no longer CEO.
Yeah, now we have a new streaming service called Max, huh?
Yeah, new streaming service of Max. I had to look it up because obviously Discovery had announced that they are going to be merging the Discovery Plus content with the HBO Max content into a new streaming service called Max. Does this mean I'll have to download a new app, or does HBO Max just become Max? I don't know yet. But I do know that our current subscription will stay the same, but they are changing some things. So right now, your HBO $59 a month subscription offers you up to three concurrent screen streaming at one time. Now the $15.99 a month will only do 2 screens. So if you aren't aware of that and you have multiple people using your HBO Max, you may want to let them know.
Wait. That affects me.
I caught Omar's attention.
What's this shit now? What's going on?
So the new tier, so the $59 a month. So if you're already on the regular tier, obviously there's the ad tier, which includes ads for $9.99. That still exists. But the regular HBO Max subscription tier of $59 a month, right now you can stream up to 3 screens concurrently, I believe. And now with the new layout, once it changed over to Max, it'll be 2 screens. If you up your subscription to the $19.99 a month, ultimate
4K, which is $200 a year.
Yes,
discount. That's insane.
Crazy. That will give you up to 4 screens and the 4K content. So you won't get the 4K.
I need to tell my brother to get that one.
Yeah, you need to tell one of your rich brothers that they need they need to up to the $20 a month tier.
Because if they ain't gonna do that, then I'm gonna be swimming in them pirate bays. Is all I'm gonna be doing. All right, the HBO Max app will just change to Max. Omar self-snitching. Mine is bundled with my AT&T. So yeah, I was asking a guy that a friend of mine that works at AT&T about this, and he said that they were told that they are after a certain month they're not going to be provided with free HBO anymore. So I don't know how that's going to affect people that have AT&T that provide HBO Max for them. And yes, my brother, sometimes you got to sell them C's. Yeah. So I don't know how we'll do. They should change the name to Max solely to so Sam Keith can sue them. This doesn't affect me. My country never had HBO Max to begin with.
Oh,
ours in Israel.
That's a shame.
Mm-hmm. I have it through my uncle. He pays $5 a month through AT&T. There we go. Guys, are you happy about Harry Potter getting rebooted and turned into a TV show like the book version? That's an Amanda question. I never, no offense to anybody that liked Harry Potter, that wasn't my jam. Never cared for the movies. I read the first 2 books.
So I'm trying to figure out.
I was forced to see, what was it? The Mighty Crimes of
Grindelwald.
Whatever the hell you made me go and review with you.
The Crimes of Grindelwald. You were like, nope.
Yep.
So I get, where they're coming from. It's going to be so book accurate. Each season will be one of the books, right? Great. Awesome. Here's the thing. The last movie barely came out maybe 10 years ago. And it's the same thing I feel about them rebooting Moana into a live action when that movie, Moana's not is younger than my own daughter, who's only 7. I don't understand why you're rebooting something into a live action that quickly. I don't understand why Harry Potter's getting rebooted so quickly, except to make a profit. Why can't we tell new stories within the universe? Whatever.
Well, we've had a Moana. We've had a Moana 2 already. Not a Moana 2. What the heck is that called?
Harry Potter 2.
Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch. No, I'm just saying.
They were Hawaiian, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
I remember the older sisters.
But it doesn't make sense. Yes, they're making Universal makes a lot of money on the Wizarding World. There's a lot of money to be had in Harry Potter. And it's just weird because when I think about, where I'm at as, where a lot of people are that are younger than me that grew up with the books, they're still young. They don't have kids they're going to be showing this to yet. Not all of them. You know what I mean? Not everyone who's a Harry Potter fan is my age. A lot of them are still in their 20s, maybe early 30s, or maybe my math's off. But it's just weird that it's so close to those original characters. And it's still weird because Universal Studios has all those original actors everywhere. I was just there last week in Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and you still see Emma Watson. What are they going to do? Are they going to change all that out with these new actors? Are they going to leave it be? Which one is going to be, which one's going to be better, the movies or the TV show? What are you going to add to it? Couldn't they have waited a little bit longer? It just feels like they're rebooting everything so fast these days. You don't need to.
Yeah, she was pretty.
She was pretty. I don't know.
I heard every bit of Amanda's rant too. What?
Not. It just doesn't make sense.
I was shaking my head one night.
Yeah, but why do we have to reboot it? And we can't.
Welcome to my world.
Well, because Harry. So this is what makes me mad is instead of listening to Harry Potter fans who are we want this storyline or we want this storyline, they're we'll just reboot the same thing. Because y'all were mad because we didn't get Hermione Granger's spew. I don't care about that, really, guys. It's not that big of a deal. If we didn't see Hermione Granger rooting for house elves and starting that whole club, it's not that big of a deal to me, guys. It really isn't. I don't care. We got the gist of it.
Actually, we could do a whole stream on Amanda just going on about how Harry Potter should not be rebooted. We actually did an episode 4 or 5 years ago.
Let Daniel Radcliffe be 50, 60 years old, then reboot it. I mean,
60 years old.
You got to find another Snape better than better than Alan Rickman, may he rest in peace? Are you going to find a better Rubeus Hagrid? May he rest in peace. I mean,
but I mean, here's the thing, though, and let me answer this question.
How I feel about rebooting Lord of the Rings, which is what Warner Bros. Is doing, and I'm like, I don't want to see another Lord of the Rings film. We already have the perfect casting. They are all there. They exist. You cannot change that.
Now I'm for real nodding my head in agreement, because I do have something to say about that. Yes. Go get yourself. Jesse's asking for a DC omnibus recommendation. Go get yourself Gotham. Damn it. Beer. Gotham Central omnibus. That's the one you want. It's wonderful, man. Was that a Harry Potter? I think the way Amanda is feeling, I'm a little older than Amanda.
Just a little bit.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
I know.
I'm kidding. It's because of my immature age. Listen, I've been through this already, right? I've been through this with Transformers, and it's broken my heart. Ninja Turtles, whatever. I think I'm at that age now that I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, they're gonna reboot it anyway, and it doesn't affect the way that I felt about the things that came before.
Yes.
So I'm okay with them reboot. Whatever. I don't care. I don't have to watch it. I haven't seen a single Disney remake, live action remake. I haven't seen a single one, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not boasting about it. It's a decision I make. I see people argue about the stupidest shit online, whether it's a Little Mermaid remake or whether it's a live action remake. And I understand. I was there. I was there with when Transformers was remade into a live, and they butchered the shit out of one of my favorite franchises. But it doesn't matter. In the end, it's going to make money and it's going to bring toys out and whatever. So sure, if people are happy, let them reboot Harry Potter. I don't care. I didn't even like the first one, so it doesn't affect me any. I'm sure Lord of the Rings will be rebooted. I mean,
they already said they were doing it.
It's a money thing, right? I mean, they're going to. Will anybody be as good as Ian McKellen as a wizard?
No.
Or my gosh, Christopher Lee, who actually was handpicked by Tolkien, who is the basis of James Bond, who is one of the most baddest ass, well, rest in peace now, human beings we ever had on this planet. Would anybody ever replace him as Saruman? Who knows? Maybe.
Will anyone ever replace Sean Astin as Samwise Gamgee? Could you see another portrayal of that?
Oh yeah, sure.
I love it.
You know who I would pick? There's only one man.
Stop.
Yes,
well,
son.
But in a Lou live action, that's not so far off. If we know the Powers cast, that's not so far off the mark there.
Oh, Mr. Vic, you should join the AMA where I really get drunk and share my real thoughts on things. But it's one of those things that happens that it's just part of getting older. You go through a phase of being angry, because I was there. I was just like everybody, upset about remakes. And then 10 years later, you just learn to live with it, and you're like, who cares? Oh well. You know what? And I'm on the boat that like it'll be rebooted in another 10 years, and it'll piss off those people. So they'll be on the same boat.
And Ted's like, money or the studio, and I understand they might lose the rights, but then why not use something else from that?
Are they trying to with Rings of Power? I don't know.
They are, but I'm talking about Warner Brothers with the Harry Potter stuff.
Well, they did, right?
Though they did once, but I keep wondering if it's Rowling trying to keep some control, and she just doesn't want to write anything else. And clearly, she wasn't good at writing scripts to begin with. This is why Fantastic Beasts is still. But there's so many storylines we could get. We could get something way before everything that has to do with the original books. We could get something from the time when Snape and Lily and all of them were in Hogwarts, because a lot of people have been clamoring for that. We can get years in the future. We can get the Cursed Child if you wanted to, but not the Cursed Child, because that was she just undid everything she did in the 7 books. So let's not do that. But some version of that would have been fine. But why the original books? Why?
Sorry. You know how you feel about the Beast. Yes. That's how people feel about the prequels and the sequels of Star Wars. Which again, I went to the theater to see the prequels, and Senate negotiations was not what I was expecting to see from a fucking Jedi movie, and I was just
True.
as shocked. And then we got the sequels of that, what I like to call a crap sandwich, for lack of a better term. It's just, you get used to it, and it doesn't take away my love of the things that I came before.
No, it doesn't.
I will always have a
still
special place in my heart for these things. I'll always love Transformers. I'll always love Lord of the Rings. And if I liked Harry Potter, I would always love Harry Potter, and that doesn't take it away. And I think that will come with age. You go, and it's okay for you to go through this ranting age, because I went through it.
Yes.
And until I realize, whatever.
Because it is weird. I'm at that age now. I think a lot of millennials are, where we're seeing stuff of ours being rebooted. You, Gen X, and the whoever came before you, the boomers, you've all been seeing your
We
stuff.
don't like to label ourselves, but go
I know,
on.
but you've been seeing your stuff rebooted for a while now. We're starting to see it, and a lot of us are. It's an interesting place in your world, especially because we've become, our millennials at this day and age become so attached to these things. Nostalgia is so high, right? But you're right, I'll still love it. I will still have 4 butterbeers while I'm at Harry Potter World. That's going to happen.
What's up?
Happened last week. I had so many butterbeers. I had so much brain.
I don't even know what the hell that means. I'm just happy for you.
Delicious thing in the world. My daughter got her first wand, and it will still be exciting. My second daughter gets her first wand when she's old enough, because she is not yet.
And Bar, you can love those prequels and sequels, baby. Yeah. It ain't about what I like; it's about what you like. And if you love,
I was okay with some of Revenge of the Sith.
Actually, I like Revenge of the Sith a little bit.
Not the second one.
Was it really that bad?
We did. Anyway? Did we? Yes, we did, because of the sand. We had to talk about sand.
The sand. Oh my gosh. But yeah, and anybody can love it. If you love these movies, you can love Superman 3. It's just my opinion, and it's all subjective in the end, so it doesn't matter. Gen 1 kids grew reading Harry Potter.
We are
watching are now adults with a disposable income, right? They can spend cash on themselves and their kids, indulge on fandom. Attractive target.
I bought both my daughter's Pygmy Puffs that last week at Harry Potter World. They didn't need Pygmy Puffs that purr, but I bought both of the Pygmy Puffs, and they love those stupid things. And my daughter got a wand, and those wands aren't cheap, but you can use the wand at certain points around the Harry Potter universe at Universal, and it does magic if you do the right motion in a motion camera that's in front of you. It's pretty cool. Yep, right here, disposable income with nothing better to do but spend it on that crap.
Hey, no, but you got to treat. I mean, I did the same thing with my kid. That's before true. They were even born, I was buying my kids Studio Ghibli like stuffed animals. Like before my daughter could say like words like stairs and things like that, they knew some Studio Ghibli characters. It's the way that we raise them. And to this day now, they both love Studio Ghibli movies. I don't know, these studios are starting to reboot or revive movies from the 2000s, and that will happen, because if a movie failed and if an IP failed, didn't make enough money, they'll try to do it a few years later, and they're like, oh, we gonna forget about this.
I'm waiting on that Can't Hardly Wait sequel.
Can't hardly wait. Oh, that movie. I was thinking of that thing you do for some reason.
No, I love that movie too. But which Universal are you going to, Andrew? Hollywood Studio, or the Hollywood one, or Florida? I was at the Florida one because I was in Florida last week, which was fantastic. And James, you keep that out of your mouth. No one likes that Last Airbender. There's another thing. Now, I'm a bad, terrible, bad movie.
That's it. That's how she feels.
That's how I feel about that movie. But I'm holding out hope on the Netflix live action adaptation.
Like Hollywood bringing back Legally Blonde, Princess Diaries, Enchanted, etc. They're going to ruin all my childhood. Oh, and then you'll get used to it, and you're going to be like, oh, well. Doesn't take away from the fact that you still love I can't believe I'm going to say this, the original Legally Blonde, Princess Diaries.
Original Legally Blonde was a very clever movie. Now, I don't know about the sequel, Red, White, and whatever, but the original Legally Blonde had its moments. Say with Princess Diaries, and Princess Diaries 2 had Chris Pine before he was the Chris Pine we all love and know and love today. And Enchanted was very clever. Loved Enchanted. Disenchanted had its moments.
I didn't even finish Disenchanted, but I like the first one.
But I love Idina Menzel got to sing, and that was the only
you know what made my day about Enchanted was 2D hand-drawn animation. It was in that movie, and I was so happy because we hadn't seen that since The Princess and the Frog.
You're so
And I
right.
thought we were going to go straight to CG, and that's what's happened. At least, besides the extended universe being killed off, Star Wars has not yet been rebooted. No, it hasn't yet. But
yeah,
I mean, maybe one. I don't know. Maybe
we
when
technically did get a new Han Solo, kind of, and a new Leia, kind
we got a
of.
new Leia, and we got a sort
We
of
got
a new Luke.
New Luke.
And I don't know if
there's a possibility it's coming.
And I don't know if that has anything to do with George Lucas still being with us or not, or if maybe one day they'll. I don't know. I don't know if it, he believe it or not, even though he sold all that stuff off, he still has a very important part to play and all. Like he's very picky about the things that he plays a part in. One of my earliest memories of licensed movie merchandise was Superman 3 or Superman 2. Topps trading cards. I remember when those came out. Came in wax paper with a stick of gum. Dude, that stick of gum was hard as a rock. Ugh. I do miss 2D animated movies. DreamWorks had some. They did The Road to El Dorado, right? And The Prince of Egypt.
They did, yeah, Prince of Egypt. Andrew Quick, he's going to Florida. So make sure you download the Universal Studios app because that's your ticket to understanding where the wait times are. And also mobile ordering for your food. It's going to be a lifesaver. Make sure you go check out that Poseidon's Fury ride because it's going to close May 9th and it'll be gone forever. And I'm sure E.T. will follow very soon.
What? They can't kill E.T. off?
Well, they killed Jaws off. They killed the Back to the Future. It's the last.
They killed Back to the Future?
It's the last original ride there is E.T. And I don't know why that's held on as long as it has. It doesn't have as long as wait times as like the Transformers, not like the Minions and Hagrid's motorbike rides. Those guys have the longest lines, at least 2 hours if you want to go ride those attractions. But yeah, get that app. You're gonna need it. It's very useful.
There you go. Amanda's Universal Studios representative trying to get us all to go. Yeah, she gets a little kickback from that.
Yeah. If
Shrek 5 is coming soon. I believe it from the ending of Puss.
I hope so.
No,
as long as they use the similar animation from Puss in Boots and they keep with the way they did the Puss in Boots humor. If they make it clever again, I'll be okay with that. No more fart jokes.
Mike Myers made a killing from Shrek.
Yeah, that's why he's not really doing much now, except for that. What was the last thing he did? That weird spy thing on Netflix.
And he's one of these actors that he always takes me. I remember when he was in Inglourious Bastards, and I was like, "Whoa, is that Mike Myers? Right. Why is Mike Myers in this movie?" Yeah. No news on Mark Spector 2. My brother, Back to the Future better not get a reboot. I saw the fan-made trailer of Back to the Future 4. And even though it's not real, wishful thinking. They did do a Young Indiana Jones series in the 90s. Yeah. River Phoenix played him in the movie. I can't remember the kid that played him in the TV show. But we should not forget that there are also great remakes like Scarface or Carpenter's The Thing. Okay, but I'm sorry. Carpenter's The Thing, yes, was a remake from The Thing That Fell from Another. What was it? The Thing That Fell from Another World? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I actually love Frank Darabont's The Blob. 1988 The Blob. It's freaking phenomenal. If you've not seen it, creepy as hell. Remember as a kid going to the theater, and that was the first time I ever saw a kid die in a movie. Horrifically, his face was melting off because the blob was it was awesome. Sean Patrick Flannery, thank you. Sean
Patrick Flannery, okay. Awesome. Okay, so Josh is saying that the streets make him sad. So we have 10 minutes left. So
wrap it up.
No sadness about reboots. What other things can we talk about? Oh, we're getting a Ray film that has been revealed. So we were on break last week for a lot of this stuff. Ray from Star Wars. Speaking of Star Wars.
Oh, I thought you meant Ray, Georgia. Ray.
Oh, yeah. Well, not another one of those. They're not rebooting that again, are they? There's only one Jamie Foxx who can play Ray Charles.
Okay, no. Okay, that's a topic for another day. But go ahead. Yeah, Ray. Ray. Well, I cannot remember Daisy. What is her name?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley.
Yep, they're moving forward the film. They're looking for 2025, so it looks like they're going to start. Probably have a script in the works.
I thought she said Ray, and I'm like, Georgia?
I can't believe that's where your mind went. I was like, we just talked about this. Like,
I forget the things we talk about.
Yeah, so we're getting that. Let's see. Oh, Creature Commandos. So you guys wanted to hear the voice actors. All right. So we have Sean Gunn will voice Weasel, which we already would have figured that.
Yep.
Frank Grillo, is that his name? Is Rick Flag Sr.
Do you know who that is?
Yes.
He was
sounds familiar.
Crossbones in the Marvel Universe.
That's
MCU.
right. Okay.
And he was really upset about the way that they treated his character in the MCU.
Oh, I am too, because he just got killed right at the beginning of Civil War, like it was nothing.
Was it Civil War? I thought.
No, it was Civil War. Yeah, he was Crossbones by Civil War, but there was like a whole arc he must have had between Winter Soldier and Civil War that he became Crossbones, and we didn't see it at all. So I can see why he's a little peeved about that, because they probably told him it was be more than that. Maria Baklava is going to be Princess Alana Rostovic. Indira Varma is playing the bride. And then Zoe Chow is going to be Nina Mazursky. Alan Tudyk is Dr. Phosphorus. David Harbour, glad to see him back in another superhero thing, is going to be Eric Frankenstein. And Steve Agee is going to be John Economos. That's the guy who plays John Economos, right? In the original. In Peacemaker and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so. So is this going to be animated?
It is. Creature Commandos would be animated. When they announced it, it was an animated series. Hold
on here. Maria Baklava in the DCU is such a win. Oh, yeah? I need to look this lady up. Maria Baklava?
Maria Baklava.
What's she in?
She's a Bulgarian actress. She was Borat's daughter. In the second Borat.
Baklava or Baklava?
Bakalova, sorry, Bakalova.
She's also
in Bodies.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow.
Oh, and she's the voice of, and in Guardians, she's the voice of Cosmo, the dog.
Isn't she in the what's his name movie? Borat movie?
Yeah, she's his daughter.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The one who got that one guy that
yeah. Gotcha.
Bakalova.
Wow. And she's also set to be in the Sebastian Stan spy comedy in the works from Paramount.
Dang, she's got some stuff coming up.
She's a pretty girl. So yeah, it's all going to be animated, and that is Rick Flag's dad. So,
yes.
Not to be confused with the Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because that actor is not in it, so that makes sense.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, really quick, a super chat. If you could pick, what comics property would you assign to Frank Darabont? Oh my gosh, I love Frank Darabont, dude. That guy. You know how much it pissed me off that he was let go of The Walking Dead?
Oh, no.
Me, The Walking Dead, and part of the reason why I never really liked The Walking Dead again after he left. So anyway, I'm sorry. I mean, it's. I would love to see something like Man-Thing or Tomb of Dracula. I would love to see those kind of
that for him. That would be cool.
House of Mystery. Like a spin-off of the Sandman universe. Things like that. Yeah. Those are the kind of things I would like to see. Bakalova, thank you so much. Maria Balala. You guys are making up last names now. Stop it.
It's 7 episodes, and it'll feature the creation of the Black Ops team out of prisoners, just like Suicide Squad. And yeah, so it's just interconnected in the DCU's Chapter 1, Gods of Monsters. That's what the whole first phase is called.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What else? There was, okay, we talked about the Marvels. We talked about that.
Blue Beetle.
Oh, excited to see Blue Beetle. It looks cheesy. It looks wholesome. It looks like it's up my alley. Do we know if this is pre-James Gunn or post-James Gunn DC?
Well, it's pre-James Gunn, and that was already filmed, and there's no mention of Blue Beetle in his original phase. Whether or not James Gunn picks up Blue Beetle and uses him later on, maybe in like end of phase 1, phase 2, is yet to be seen, but I do love that actor. Is it Sholo Mariduena?
Wow, look at you.
Is it Sholo?
It's Maria Bakalov. I know that much.
But I love this actor from Cobra Kai.
Great. Cobra Kai.
Love this actor.
Now, there's a franchise that was not rebooted, but they did justice.
Same, yeah. That was I love that show. I can't wait for it to come back for its final season. But
I don't want to even think about a final season for that show.
Yes, but I this kid has a lot of charisma and couldn't have picked a better actor to play Jaime, in my opinion. So
yes, I did hear about James Mangold doing the Swamp Thing movie. Very excited about that. That was one of the James Gunn announcements. Alan Tudyk is the most underrated voice actor. So good in Wreck-It Ralph and iRobot. He was great in iRobot.
Yeah, he's underrated in so many things, though. He's such a
House of the Dragon season 2 began filming yesterday.
Ooh.
But we're not getting that right until
2024. So we gotta wait till it'll probably be sometime next year, like mid-season or mid-season or when did House of Dragon? When we were reviewing it, it was the summertime, right? Is when it came out.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I have a feeling it'll run the same course. Summer 2024 is when it'll come out.
And I know you and I talked before we started the stream, but I can't remember if we did or not, about Mia Goth being casted in Blade. Yep.
Mia Goth is being casted in Blade. We did talk about that before the stream. And so they haven't announced who she's going to be playing. I know there's a lot of different talks of who she could play, but there is no word. But if you want someone from a horror movie, she's the perfect person to cast.
I'm not the biggest fan of Pearl or X. They're okay, but I thought she was phenomenal in Pearl. Like, she is a genuinely good actress, especially that ending in Pearl. I thought she did a phenomenal job in that.
Yeah, so I'll be early to see what role she played.
I can't wait to follow her career. Tudyk was great in Powerless and Doom Patrol. And then there was also the Muppet Mayhem, which Kevin Smith is really excited about.
Nice.
So I think that is it. HBO announcing new. Oh, I did hear about this too. A new prequel. But didn't they already do that and cancel it?
Yeah, the one with Naomi Watts. They spent a lot of money on that.
And they filmed a pilot, right? And
they did.
Oh, Michael, I already answered, man. No news yet, brother. No news yet on that. Mark Spector, Volume 2. Not a fan of Pearl. Why did you hate the fat vampire? No, I did not like Pearl. Oh, the fat vampire from Blade. Well played. Didn't they confirm Daisy? Wait. Daisy really? Right?
Secret Invasion?
She's in Secret Invasion? I thought it was what's her name? The Mother of Dragons.
No, yeah, Amelia Clark's in it. She's playing Abigail Brand.
Which we kind of knew she was going to play.
Well, some people thought she was going to play it.
Oh, the Queen.
The Squirrel Queen. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That was an early rumor, but now it's confirmed that she's Abigail Brand.
But that's been postponed, isn't it? Hasn't it been postponed?
No, because they've already remember the new trailer came out, the full-on trailer. I don't think
so they're still planning on releasing it this year? Okay, cool. Yeah. And Maxine wraps up that trilogy. Yeah, so it's X, Pearl, and then Maxine.
It's June 21st, 2023 is when the trailer announced it. So
I will be in Japan when that comes out.
Well, I'll just be reviewing it myself.
Yeah, that is also my anniversary. It's also my anniversary. So
it is, isn't it?
We'll be celebrating it in another country. All right. We're at the 2-hour mark. At this moment, I just want to thank you all for watching and let my wonderful co-host sign us out.
Yes. So next week, we'll let you guys know what the show is. I have a couple ideas of what I want to do. I was thinking about,
next week might be pre-recorded.
Right, because you're going to be
do something. It might be pre-recorded because I'll be
out. We may be doing a pre-recorded show. It may be postponed. We'll see. We'll let you guys know. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Mint Condition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us here in what we do. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good journey, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good journey. And we'll talk about John Wick 4.
John Wick
70%.
4 drops
It's
70%.
fine.
All right, we'll talk about that next time.
Typical of a movie like that. It's fine. It's fine.
Typical?
It's typical.